Hello, Jim. Thank you for trusting me with this. You've been built a remarkable company on paper. Revenues have skyrocketed 74% since you took over, hitting $2.3 billion in 2008. But as we both know, the house is on fire. Your top talent is walking out the door. You must be your most senior leader, Ellie Saunders, is being a leader of grave concern, and the culture you have tried to build is factoring into us versus them. And you asked me to look under the hood, and I've spent a considerable amount of time reviewing the financial, the organizational cards, and the raw, unfiltered feedback from your company. So the diagnosis is clear. You have a structural and cultural crisis that is being masked by top line growth. If you don't fix this, the engine that funds your innovation, the water products division, will stall, and your falcons will have nowhere to land. And today, I'm I'm going to lay out exactly what's going on wrong here. We'll use this clue in your own data to prove the point. So we will examine your leadership style, and finally, I'll give you one clear, actionable piece of advice to start fixing this. So for first, you have the division at war, the old established water products and the new high growth solution division, fueled by your strategic subsidiaries. Alexander feels his division is being milked dry. Let's see if the data backs him up. So, Ellie complained is that his division is being used as a cash cow. In business, that's not necessarily an insult, it's a strategy. A cash cow generates steady, reliable income that is then invested in higher growth opportunities. The problem arises when you milk the cow so much that it becomes sick and cannot produce. So let's look at Exhibit 1 in 1999 until 2003 and Exhibit 3 in 2004 until 2008. So I want to compare the before and after of your subsidiary strategy, which launched in 2004. So first in 1999, before the Goldfinch acquisition, Water Products was the entire company with I think around $700 billion in sales. By 2003, the year before subsidiary plan, Water Products had grown modestly to around $1,800 million. Solution, and your new division was at $3,000 million. So Water Products was still the giant, contributing nearly 70% of the company total revenue. Now, mm, fast forward to 2008 in Exhibit 3. 4.1 water uh, product sales are uh, wait $100 million. They've grown, but it's not no, but it's been a slow and steady climb, and this Tolson shells, however, have exploded to 100 point 1,200 millions. And on the surface, this looked like a balanced or successful transformation. But if you look deeper, a note at the bottom of Exhibit 3 reveals a crucial detail. Is $400 million of those solution sales come from products developed in the subsidiaries you founded. So, where did the money to fund those subsidiaries come from? And it did not come from solution non-profit. It came from the parent company, retained earnings which are overwhelmingly generated by the reliable century-old business of selling pipes and tanks. In fact, a note in Exhibit 4 shows that while water products represent 40% of the company's asset, the entrepreneurial subsidiaries, which generated that $412 million in new revenue, only represent 25% of the asset. So they achieve that growth by living no by leveraging water products gas. And furthermore, look at development water products on Exhibit 3 from 2004 until 2008. It hovers around $12 million in a year. Uh, it's flat. Yeah. In that same period, R&D for solution, much of it uh, funded through subsidiaries was as high as $68 million. So the proof, this data prove Alice right. Yeah, water product is the cash cow, is stagnant R&D budget and the sheer scale of new revenue from subsidiaries funded by corporate coffees, corporate covers how a clear transfer or no a clear transfer of resource. You have systematically uh, un, underinvested in the division that provide the stability and funds for your entire experiment. His top salespeople are not quitting because they are lazy. They're quitting because they're being asked to sell 20 years old products against competitors who are innovating with the money you should have spent on them. So now let's look at the organizational structure. A CEO job is to set vision and strategy, not to be the central switchboard for every operational unit. Yeah. So look at the exhibit 5, the 2003 organizational chart is clean. Richard Stone as a CEO has two direct reports, you, Jim, heading the solution division, and Ellie Saunders heading water products. There's a clear chain of command. Each division head has authority and autonomy. The structure allows the CEO to focus on the big picture. So now let's look at Exhibit 7 in 2008. Uh, 2008 chart. So it matches. You as CEO still have Ellie and the head of solution named Pat Suarez reporting to you. But you have also a ticket of new direct reports. So 12 different subsidiary leaders. Jim, you know, uh, have at least 14 people reporting directly to you. It's not a uh, manageable span of control. You are creating a massive organizational parallel. So every uh, subsidiary leader has direct access to the CEO, which means first you are overwhelmed. You can give any of them the deep mentorship or strategic guidance they need. Uh, you're spending your time on operational trivia instead of corporate strategy. And then the second, you are bypassing your own division head. Like the solution, the solution division, division leadership, especially Pet Suarez, is being undermined. How can she integrate their subsidiaries when they don't report to her and have a direct line to the CEO? And third, uh, you are creating a favorite nation dynamic. Like it's like everyone in the company can see this chart. It visually screams that the subsidiary leaders are in the special project. The Falcon with direct access to the king, while the domestic fowl of water products and the core solution division are stuck in the area. Wait, stuck in the bureaucratic hierarchy below. So this structure is not designed for long-term stability. It's designed for you to apply venture capitalist, not as CEO. Yeah. So the financial and the urge are the structure of the problem, but the heart of the problem is your leadership style. Yeah. So for Jim, your own your own words and action have created a toxic culture. So you categorize your employees. Uh, categorize your employees. There are falcons, the touring, risk-taking entrepreneurs that you admire, and then there are domestic fall, the steady, loyal employees who have built this company over decades. So this is just not. It's not just a private metaphor. It's a wait. It's not metaphor. It's a world view that shapes your decision. You treat the falcons like nobility, giving them equity, autonomy, and direct access. You treat the domestic fowl like like a utility, a source of cash to be milk. So think about the message this sends to Ellie Saunders and his 25 years veterans. They are being told implicitly that their decades mm, of loyalty, their deep client relationship, and their operational excellence are not as valuable as the untested, untested, untested idea of a small team of engineers. You have created a class system where one group is seen as the future and the other as the past. When you insult someone's life work, if indirectly you destroy their motivation, uh, yeah, you destroy their motivation. Yeah. So Alice email says moral is plummeting. Of course it is. His people feel used and disrespected, and it's not just about respect. It's about rewards. Yeah. So look at the financial upside for the subsidiary officer detailed in Exhibit 6. The buy stock for I think $1 per share and can exchange it for stone fins stock trading at 45 until 70 million dollar per share. The example of Pat Suarez is that she turned uh, for $14,000 investment into $2 million. Now, read the comments from the jump. Elias Masteron from Solution says that the subsidiary people come back richer and more at. Uh, entitled. They ate together, hung together, jogged together. They become elite circle. Uh, as a leader, you did not just create a way to found innovation. You create a system that uh, breeds resentment. You allow a cool kid stable to form in the company cafeteria. You gave select few a life-changing financial windfall and a heroic narrative, while the vast majority of your employees were left to do the day-to-day work with no hope of ever joining that club. It's not wonder it fast track people in the solution division quit. So they look around and realize their path to success uh, was uh, was to leave and start their own subsidiary, not to stay and build the core business. So your faith in Pat Suarez was perhaps misplaced, but not because she is not talented. She was a brilliant startup leader, yeah. But you promote her to run a division of 400 people without any mentorship or support. You expect her startup skills to magically translate into managing a massive, complex organization. The file IT integration, the 15% budget of run, the filing product, there are symptoms of a leader set up to file by a CEO who confused entrepreneurial energy with managerial competence. Her new phone world did not listen her thrive. You like leadership in developing her new skill did. So for Jim, where do we go from here? From here, we have established the problem, a structural imbalance where the cash cow is starved, a messy orgy chart creates bottlenecks, and a cultural divide by your employees against each other. Now here's your solution. Yeah. So for the first, you need to to move from being a patron of star founders to being the CEO of an integrated company. Here's your one clear, actionable piece of advice. Yeah. So for the first, no, wait. I think effective immediately resolve that the direct reporting lines of the 12 subsidiaries, reintegrate them into the solution division under Pat Suarez leadership. Yeah, this is not punishment, yeah, for the subsidiary founders. So this is a necessary structural correction. So here's why it works. For the first, it fixes the messy map. You immediately reduce your span of control to a manageable level. Your two direct reports are Ellie Saunders and Beth Suarez, and you free yourself to do the job of a CEO. And then the second, it forces integration. Yeah. So Beth Suarez now has the responsibility and the authority to fix the cultural and IT problem in her division. She must merge the subsidiary terms back into the core. So, and the third is it address the cash cow problem. By the streaming, no, by the streamlining your own role, you can now focus on the future of the water products. Your first strategy conversation with Ellie should not be about how much cash he can give you, but about how much investment he needs to win. So, in conclusion, for Jim, your division was bold. Yeah? You want to bring entrepreneurial energy into a large company, but in your pursuit of the Falcons, you forgot that an ecosystem needs more than just than just predator. Yeah, it needs the steady, reliable foundation, and that support everything else. So the proof that this strategy is broken is not just in L email. It is in the Fred R&D spending in water products. In Exhibit 3, you took your eyes off the ball that pays for the whole game. Reorganize, invest your foundation. If you do that, you won't just retain your best people. You'll create a company where everyone from the falcon to the farm bird feels like they're part of the same flock, working toward to the same goal.